I witnessed an accident right in front of me, and I couldn't just ignore it. However, my boss, Mr. Johnson, said something unbelievable.
You're saying it's okay to be late for the meeting. Is that your attitude towards work?
I am doing my job properly. It's just that I might be a little late for the meeting because I'm still finishing up the report. I had no intention of neglecting my work. Right now, I just can't ignore the person in trouble in front of me.
Then do as you please. You're fired. We don't need incompetence. Don't ever come back.
My plea didn't reach him. The phone call ended, and I was suddenly fired from the company. I was just looking up the nearest hospital on my phone. A line of black luxury cars was parked right in front of us. What's this? Then a man emerged from one of the cars.
Are you all right, Miss Ashley?
My name is John Miller, 35 years old. I work for a stationery manufacturer. Ever since I was a kid in elementary school, I loved collecting pens, erasers, notebooks, and just looking at them. During my job hunt, I applied to various stationery manufacturers from major to small and was fortunate to receive an offer from a mid-tier company in the industry. My dream is to create my own products in the product planning department, but for now, I'm working hard in the sales department. This job, where I often hear directly from customers, will surely be useful if I ever get the chance to plan a product. Part of my job is to pitch our products to retailers to get them to carry more of our line. It's primarily a sales job to promote products that the planning department has worked hard on and to gauge sales to place orders with the factory. I think of it as an important role that connects the inside and outside of the company. Since I was assigned to the sales department as a freshman, not everything has been fun, but I've gotten along well with my colleagues in sales, and we've had fulfilling days, spurring each other on. The person I was especially indebted to was my direct supervisor, the sales department manager, Mr. Wilson. He was very caring, and I was fondly taken out for drinks and looked after. He was promoted to head manager and took charge of several sales departments. This meant a transfer to our sales department. It was sad, but a happy occasion for him. However, the person who came as his successor would end up influencing my future. The new manager's name was Johnson. I had heard that he was an elite from the planning and sales department, rising quickly to become a manager at a young age. But the other day, I bumped into a colleague from the sales planning department, and when I mentioned Johnson's name, their expression clouded over.
I know it sounds odd to say this, but my department is pretty much in a festival-like state right now.
Because he left, I exclaimed in surprise.
Hey, what if he hears you? Well, he was quite tough, you know. Several people quit because of him.
Wow, that's intense.
Make sure he doesn't set his sights on you.
I was told this with a serious look, but I was still skeptical. However, on the day he arrived, I painfully realized the truth of those words.
I'm Manager Johnson. Nice to meet you. From now on, we'll have weekly regular meetings and sales meetings. Attendance is mandatory. Everyone, clear your schedules.
The room buzzed at his words. Under Wilson, we had monthly regular meetings and bi-weekly sales meetings. If there were no agenda items, We'd handle things via email or postpone to the next month, being flexible. We were all busy with client visits and product ordering. Especially for regular meetings, we managed everyone's schedules on a departmental PC, and Wilson had reduced unnecessary meetings by having us just check there. I tentatively raised my hand, wondering if Wilson's handover was incomplete.
What is it?
Wilson had us manage our schedules on the PC, and we were moving towards canceling regular meetings.
Wilson, I'm the manager of the sales department now.
He frowned and looked at me sharply. My colleague's words flashed through my mind. It was too late when I realized my mistake.
Miller, is it? You've got guts to oppose me.
I felt my blood running cold. From that point on, he started targeting me for everything.
Miller, what's with this meeting material?
I rushed to hand him the materials I'd worked on until late the previous night.
Submit these before being asked, slacker.
Sorry, but he just skimmed through and tossed them aside. I was exhausted from my sales duties and the unreasonable meeting preparations he demanded.
Miller, are you okay? You look pale.
A colleague at the next desk asked me with a worried look. Just stayed up late yesterday.
Miller, if you've got time for small talk, get out and visit the clients.
Yes, I'm on it. I left the office as if fleeing from Johnson. I took a deep breath outside. Inside, I felt suffocated by his unpredictable demands. Why did this happen? I started walking to a client, but my mood didn't lift. I wondered if there was a way to change this situation. Sighing heavily, I headed towards the train station. I took a shortcut through a narrow alley. Suddenly, I heard a crash. Startled, I looked up to see a car had just hit a utility pole right in front of me. There was no one else around. It seemed to be a solo accident. However, the driver, still slumped over the steering wheel, showed no sign of getting out. Might be injured. I quickly ran to the car and tapped on the windshield. Are you okay? A young woman was in the driver's seat. I called out again, but there was no response. Panicking, I was about to call an ambulance when the woman slowly lifted her head. Are you okay? Can you open the door? When I asked, the door opened slowly. The woman's face was pale, looking unwell.
Oh, I didn't know what to do. I suddenly went blank.
Are you injured? Should I call for help?
No, I think it might just be anemia. But I should call the police for this, right?
She was responding coherently, which relieved me a bit. She didn't seem to have any major injuries. It's a weird time to notice, but she was quite beautiful. Yes, you hit a pole, so we should.
What should I do? Where's my phone?
Here, use mine.
Thank you.
I offered her my phone, and she called the police. Soon, they arrived, and I had to give a statement as a witness. Her name was apparently Ashley Smith. While she talked with the police, I called my contact at the client I was supposed to visit. It looked like it would take a while to complete the report, and I couldn't just leave her there, looking so worried. After explaining the situation and apologizing to my contact, they were understanding. Next, I had to call my workplace. There was a meeting scheduled at the office this afternoon. I asked if the manager was there and had a colleague pass the phone.
Are you kidding me? What do you mean, an accident? Just leave it and come back.
As expected, the voice on the other end was yelling. I instinctively pulled the phone away from my ear. I can't just leave her here.
So you're saying you're okay with missing the meeting? That's your work attitude?
I'm doing my job. Just that the report is taking a while and I'll be late for the meeting. I wasn't neglecting my work. I just couldn't leave someone in trouble.
Then do as you like. You're fired. Don't bother coming back.
He didn't hear my plea. The call ended abruptly and I was suddenly out of a job. Fired. I was dumbfounded. I expected to be yelled at, but getting fired was a shock. Noticing my exhausted state, Ashley spoke to me.
I heard your phone call. Are you really fired? Because of me?
No, it's okay. I'm sorry to have worried you. I looked at her, trying to hide my confusion. I never really got along with my boss. Maybe this was a good opportunity.
But
Ever since Johnson took over, I have been on edge every day, but now, thinking it might be over, I felt a strange sense of relief. Still, it was frustrating to be forced out of the company I joined as a new graduate, especially when I had more I wanted to do. But with Johnson there, it would have been difficult to continue. You should probably get checked at a hospital. I can take you after we finish here.
that's so kind. Even though you're going through so much, you're worried about me. Thank you.
No, it's just what anyone would do.
Thank you for being so kind. Can I make one more phone call?
Sure, I'll wait over here. She turned away to make a call. After her call, the police said we could go. I was looking up the nearest hospital on my phone. A few black luxury cars passed by in front of me. There's a general hospital about 5 minutes from here. As I spoke to Ashley and looked up, I was puzzled by the scene unfolding before me. The cars I thought had passed by were actually lined up and parked right in front of us. What's this? A man got out of one of the cars.
Are you all right, Miss Ashley?
Thank you. I'm fine. Just a bit of anemia.
Do you need to go to the hospital?
The man spoke respectfully to Ashley. Hearing her addressed as Miss, I realized she might be from a wealthy family.
Yes, I'll go to the hospital. But first, I want to take this man to see my father.
Excuse me, but who is this gentleman?
When I hit my car, he helped me, and now he's in trouble because of me.
The man thanked me politely. I felt almost embarrassed.
Miss, your father said he was going to see Mr. Thompson.
Perfect. Miller, would you come with me?
I intended to accompany her to the hospital, but with so many people around, I wondered if there was any point in me going. Then I heard a familiar name, and before I knew it, I was in one of the shiny luxury cars. Lost in the comfort of the seat, I realized we had arrived at our destination. I got out and was surprised. In front of me was my company. More accurately, it was the company I had just been fired from. I looked at Ashley, bewildered.
I overheard you mention your company name on the phone. I've known my Uncle Thompson since I was a child.
I recognized the familiar name, Thompson, as in President Thompson of my company.
Yes. My father is apparently here to see him. May I introduce you?
Your father, could he be? There is a company, name is MT Corporation, which is the leader of stationery manufacturer. Their president is very famous, and his family name is Smith. Staggering in front of the company, I followed Ashley, feeling almost turned upside down. An employee at the reception, unfamiliar with the situation, looked at us curiously but led us to the president's office. Inside, there were President Thompson, President Smith, whom I had only seen on TV, and Johnson, trembling and pale-faced.
Ashley, are you okay? Any injuries?
Sorry for the sudden visit. I'm fine. This man helped me.
No, I didn't do anything. I just happened to be there. I stammered in front of the two influential figures.
If you were not there, I would have panicked and not known what to do. Thank you so much.
Thompson, you have a good employee.
Right? But because he helped me, he got fired.
Ashley dear, I was just hearing about that. A manager doesn't have the authority for that.
Johnson seemed on the verge of collapsing under President Thompson's glare.
I was only admonishing him for his attitude towards work.
You said I'd be fired if I was late for the meeting, didn't you?
Quiet, you, shut up.
Johnson yelled at me, and I clammed up.
You always yell at employees like that. I hear?
I have to properly point out their mistakes.
His eyes darted around, struggling to defend himself. President Thompson's questioning continued.
What about Miller's overtime this month?
Glancing at me, Johnson replied,
I told him to go home early, but maybe he's slow at his work.
That's not true. My overtime till last month was normal. It's all the extra work from him recently. I retorted, and Johnson glared at me sharply.
I asked him to prepare meeting materials, but they shouldn't take that long.
That's for monthly meetings. Weekly meetings don't leave time for my other duties.
If it's too much, you should say so.
What? I felt my blood boil at his hypocrisy of yelling for just opening my mouth.
I heard it too.
Ashley's calm voice brought me back to reality.
He told you to leave me and come back, but Miller said he couldn't just leave me.
That's not.
Johnson's eyes widened at her words.
Miller only said he'd be a bit late because of the report.
Yes, that's right. I quickly agreed with Ashley.
You.
Johnson ground his teeth, looking at me. I stopped looking at him. I decided to leave the judgment to the president.
That's enough.
President Thompson spoke in a calm yet stern voice, as if he had understood everything.
I've realized you're not suitable to lead a department.
That's no way.
Johnson, now cornered by both presidents and Ashley's final push, seemed about to cry, trembling slightly. The man who always lorded over and yelled at me seemed almost unreal now.
Your punishment will be decided later. Leave now.
Yes.
Johnson's voice was barely audible as he left the president's office with unsteady steps.
Smith, Ashley, I apologize for the inappropriate behavior of our employee. And Miller, what you did was admirable. I'm proud of you.
Mr. President, does this mean?
Miller isn't fired, right, Uncle Thompson?
Ashley asked for confirmation.
Of course not. We need you to carry our company on your shoulder.
Thank you very much. Ashley smiled at me warmly. That's how I was saved from being fired. Johnson was demoted and transferred out of the sales department. He seemed to have fallen from the fast track to success and was assigned to a less influential department. I passed him in the company hallway the other day. His intimidating aura had vanished, and he looked noticeably smaller and dejected. Ashley and I kept in touch occasionally, and she even invited me out to dinner as a thank you. I was nervous when President Smith showed up during the meal. Back in the sales department, peace had returned, and our new director agreed to reduce the number of meetings. I was also excited about moving to the product planning department in the spring, something I had always wanted.
We are going to miss you, Miller.
I'll create a hit product. Just wait and see. My colleagues laughed mischievously at my light-hearted remark.
If you make a flop, we'll come complaining.
Oh, it's scary. I'll have to work hard to avoid that. Everyone around us laughed, filling the office with a cheerful atmosphere. I cherished these moments of laughter with my colleagues, engraving their smiling faces in my memory.
Miller, your new product is getting great reviews.
A colleague from my former sales department approached me in the cafeteria. Really? Thank you.
Did you plan that?
Yes, the idea was mine, but it took shape with input from many others. It's been about a year since I joined the product planning department. I still get nervous presenting ideas, and it takes a long time to bring a product to fruition. But the joy of seeing it take shape is irreplaceable. It's challenging work, but it's what I've always wanted to do. I feel fulfilled, even though it's tough.
I'm looking forward to your next project. Keep up the good work.
Their words seem to energize me. Thanks to the people who supported me, I am who I am today. I'll continue to work hard here, never forgetting my gratitude.